This one is a lot of different things, perhaps psychological, sci-fi thriller, kind of embodies most of it, but if nothing else, it is original. Let's talk about Cuckoo. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new movie Cuckoo. This is in theaters right now, and it is quite the ride. It comes to us from Neon Pictures, which has given us some really, really interesting things over the last few years, including certainly one of my favorites this year so far, Longlegs. But it also was behind the Academy Award-winning Parasite, The Worst Person in the World, which was a talked about movie a couple of years ago. But yeah, always something interesting going on with Neon Pictures, and this one is no exception. There's a lot of things here that we'll get into. First, though, let me welcome you back to Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video here. If you are not one of my subscribers, please consider subscribing, and if you are, just go ahead and like this video or comment below. All that stuff, of course, helps the channel out. All right, so this is coming to us from the director and writer Tillman Singer, who I was completely unfamiliar with. I looked it up. He only has done one other movie. It was a few years ago, and I never heard of it. So for me, this is the introduction to him. And also the lead actress, Hunter Schafer, who I've seen in a few things in more minor roles. She was in the recent Hunger Games prequel. She's most perhaps known for Euphoria, which I don't watch. I know I need to get on this show Euphoria, but I just, haven't gotten to it yet. I know everyone talks about it. So you may know her from that. Dan Stevens, though, of course, he plays, the second lead here, and we know him from a lot of different things, Downton Abbey included. So essentially, the premise is, without going into spoiler territory, the premise is that this family, of which Hunter Schafer plays this girl Gretchen, they move into this town in Germany because they are planning on building a resort there. There's already a resort there run by the Dan Stevens character, Air Koning. And he is sort of looking to expand or what have you, but he gives Gretchen a job at the resort, sort of at the front desk, and she starts noticing that some really, really weird things are happening at this place, especially at night. And I think, that's really all I'm going to say plot-wise, because this is one of those I think you want to go into without knowing that much and all of that. So this really is, like I said at the front, a lot of different things. It certainly has a few darkly comedic elements thrown into the mix, but it is largely a psychological thriller. There's definitely some sci-fi things perhaps at play, especially as we dive more into the story and what exactly is happening at this resort. There's definitely maybe some sci-fi elements there, but as a straight ahead horror, I don't know. I certainly jumped a couple of times, but I would say it's probably more thriller than straight out horror, or if nothing else, kind of a horror in the same vein as like a Jordan Peele type movie, where it is more psychological based and more thriller based than just jump scares and people stabbing each other and whatever. So it's more kind of in that lane. But unfortunately, this movie kind of fell apart for me towards the end. And I know that was an issue that some people had with a movie I mentioned earlier, Longlegs, which comes to us from the same production company from earlier this year. I personally, really enjoyed that ending. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. But here, the more we sort of untangle what is happening at the resort, the less believable it becomes. And not only that, but the less sense it makes. I still... It's been, about 24 hours since I've seen it. I still can't quite figure out some of the things going on and how it makes any sense. And I know if we're going to delve sort of into the sci-fi realm of it, okay, there's going to be things maybe that don't exist, in the real world, or, potentially could exist if, X and Y. But I don't know. It sort of kept falling apart for me, and the more it gets detangled, the less sense it made. So that is definitely the biggest, failing of the movie for me. But I have to say, the first like hour 15 minutes, where we're kind of exploring this world and exploring these characters, I was all in. I mean, the acting here is top notch. Like I said, I was unfamiliar with Hunter Schafer, and she actually reminded me a bit of both in her look, as she got more and more sort of messed up, let's say, and her voice reminded me a lot of Claire Danes, like circa Angela Chase era from My So-Called Life. And so, Euphoria obviously is a high school set show. So is her character there kind of an Angela Chase from My So-Called Life? I don't know. But I could see her maybe following this Claire Danes career path a little bit, moving into more dramatic stuff and maybe some more action oriented stuff like Homeland. I don't know. But I thought she was really, really compelling to watch on the screen. And Dan Stevens as well. The things I've seen him in, he's always doing something fairly interesting. I forget what the movie was a couple of years ago where he plays basically a robot manservant kind of thing. I forget what the premise even was, but he was great as and believable as this kind of robot. And he plays this really creepy dude here, who again, I don't know that all the motivations make sense, and I don't know that the story holds together all the time, but he was really great as her adversary. So overall, look, a little bit of a mixed bag. Certainly less of a movie for me than Longlegs, but I thought it was very, very interesting, very compelling. I just wish it made more sense. And it also does that thing towards the end where people should be dead probably 4 or 5 times over, and they're not. And it's just like, all right, either wrap this movie up or, my grade's going to keep going down because it was getting a little ridiculous, by the end. But overall, I think this is an interesting watch for sure. But I think the best part to come out of this is my newfound friend here, Hunter Schafer. Boy, I mean, she was great in this movie, and just in her like sort of expressionless, teen angsty type of movements, and she just nailed it. So look, overall, for some good performances, I will leave Cuckoo with a B. I will say though, boy, that end really is, was putting my grade down. Every few minutes I was like, oh, they really need to kind of wrap this up. So I will say that I thought about maybe in the B minus range, but I think with some good acting roles or acting performances, I should say, I think the B stands. So all right, thank you so much for watching. Darren Reviews It, and I'll see you next time. Bye.